YouTube, Gallifrey here, and welcome to a brand new video. In this video I'm going to be showing you my Doctor Who book collection for 2017, starting with the targets. Then I'm going to go into the Time Lord fairy tales, then new series adventures, miscellaneous Doctor Who books, and then non-fiction. So getting started with the targets, starting with Doctor Who and the Keys of Marinus by Philip Hinchcliffe. Love the cover on this one. It sounds amazing. I also have the TV story to watch as well. Doctor Who and the Zarbi by Bill Strutton. Yeah, this is meant to be a lot better than The Web Planet, the TV story, as you don't have the Zarbi bumping into cameras, and it doesn't look cheap. If you want to experience the Web Planet, definitely go for Doctor Who and the Zarbi rather than the Web Planet. The Space Museum. Love the cover on this one. This one is by Glyn Jones. The Massacre, or The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve by John Lucarati. Yeah, this is a version reprint of the original Target book. Doctor Who and the 10th Planet by Jerry Davis. First edition, I think. And this was the first Target book I got under a year ago now, so yeah, I've got all these Target books in just 1 year, so that is quite an achievement. Yeah, love to cover on this one as well. Then we do have The Highlanders by Jerry Davis again. Yeah, I started to read this one, then got a little bored, maybe because it was a purely historical, and a lot of people say purely historicals aren't the best in book form. Doctor Who and the Cyberman by Jerry Davis. This is a BBC reprint. It's not a Target book actually, but I call it a Target book. Then we do have Doctor Who and the Web of Fear by Terence Dicks. This was the first Target book I read, and it is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This got me into reading Target books I bought, rather than just having them on my shelf and having them for collector's sake. Yeah, this really got me into reading Doctor Who books. Then we do have Doctor Who and the Auton Invasion. This is a very rare book as well. The hardback for this book, however, is the rarest hardback apparently. So yeah, this book looks really good. And yeah, looking forward to reading it. Based on Spearhead from Space. Then we do have Doctor Who and the Terror of the Autons, again by Terence Dicks. The hardback for this is meant to be rare. The paperback isn't so rare. Yeah, I love the cover on this one. The Nesting Consciousness looks better than the Nesting Consciousness in the modern era, to be honest, even though this book was written in 1974 or whatever. Then we do have Doctor Who and the Daemons by Barry Letts, based on the Daemons. Yeah, I love the cover on this one. Very basic, but yet good. Doctor Who and the Curse of Peladon by Brian Hales. Yes, this book is pretty battered, but I can't really complain, as I got it for 30p, and it's an original print from 1974, so you can't expect it to be in good condition for over 40 years. Then we do have Doctor Who and the Carnival of Monsters by Terence Dicks. Love the cover on this one, really good. Doctor Who and the Planet of the Daleks, again by Terence Dicks. It's meant to be a lot better than the actual story, TV story. Yeah, so looking forward to reading this one as well. Doctor Who and the Monster of Peladon, again a version reprint by Terence Dicks. Love the amazing detail on this cover, it's absolutely superb. They almost look real. Doctor Who and the Green Death by Malcolm Hulk. Love the cover on this one, and this is the second edition. Doctor Who and the Hand of Fear by Terence Dicks, which is the Target book I am currently reading actually, and I have passed the first 3 chapters, and yeah, so far it's good. Doctor Who and the Haunts of Nimon by Terence Dicks, a very thin Target book this is. Yeah, I haven't read this one. Legopolis, another version reprint, and this is by Christopher H. Beedman. Then we do have Castrovalva by Christopher H. Beedman. Now the Target book covers start to go a bit downhill, as this cover is pretty bad, as it's not drawn, it's just Peter Davison's face put on to a starry background. So, moving on, to Earthshock by Ian Martha. See what I mean? This is just a picture on a blue background. Yeah, very low budget Target book. And yeah, this is by Ian Martha, who's meant to be a very good writer, takes a more adult approach on Doctor Who books. Then we do have the Terrestrial Index, which is an index for Target book, so it tells you what Doctor was featured in each Target book. Yeah, nice miscellaneous item. So, on to the Time Lord Fairy Tales range, and if you want to experience Time Lord Fairy Tales, go for the box set rather than the one where they're in one big book, as if you go for the box set version, you get more stories, and you get these nice little books with it. So we do have The Emperor Dalek's New Clothes, Snow White and the Seven Keys to Doomsday, Little Rose Riding Hood, Cinderella and the Magic Box, The Gingerbread Trap, Helena and the Beast, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, sorry if I pronounced some of these Gallifreyan names wrong, and Dibbet and the Force Levine, Frozen Beauty, The Garden of Statues, which features the Weeping Angels. Read this one and it's brilliant. The Three Little Sontarans, The Three Brothers Gruff, The Grief Collector, The Scruffy Piper, The Twins in the Woods, and Jack and the Wormhole. So, moving on to new series Adventures. On to the next shelf, which is my new series Adventures. So, getting started with The Clockwise Man, The Monsters Inside, Winner Takes All, The Deviant Strain, and Only Human. Only Human is a brilliant book in my opinion, so good. Then we do have The Stone Rose, which I planned on giving away as I have 2 copies of it, but no one entered my giveaway as everyone has it, pretty much. Then we do have The Feast of the Ground. Read this one, brilliant. The Resurrection Casket by Justin Richards. Yeah, looks good this one. The Nightmare of Black Island, which is loosely based off Horror of Fang Rock. Then we do have The Price of Paradise. This is a hardback. I only have 2 new series hardbacks, so yeah, they stand out well on my shelf. The Last Dodo, which, by the synopsis on the back, the blurb, or whatever you want to call it on the back, it sounds pretty bad. Then we do have The Pirate Loop, my final David Tennant new series adventure. Then we move on to Matt Smith new series adventures, starting with Apollo 23. Almost every time I look at this book, I think of Apollo 13. In fact, when I was filming this before, on take 1, I actually said Apollo 13, so I had to refilm it. Then we do have The Forgotten Army by Brian Minchin, the co-executive producer of Doctor Who at the moment. And yeah, I stole this book. I didn't steal the book, but I kind of picked it up at my school as it was in a bin, ready to go. So I saved it. Then we do have Nuclear Time by Ollie Smith. This is based on the Android Invasion, as you can see by the cover. Very similar to the androids from the Android Invasion. Then we do have The King's Dragon, Dead of Winter, The Way Through the Woods, which I read quite a while ago, and I don't really remember much from it, so I didn't really enjoy it, probably. Then we do have Hunter's Moon, which I have read, and it's brilliant. So moving on to the next shelf, continuing with my new series adventures. On to the next shelf, which features new series adventures, quick reads, and Decide Your Destinies. So continuing with my last new series paperback, we do have Borrowed Time, which I have read as well, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, about futuristic London. Then we do have Royal Blood, the start of the Glamour Chronicles. Yeah, this one looks brilliant. Big Bang Generation. The con is on. That's what the slogan is. Then we do have Deep Time, which ends the Glamour Chronicles. Yeah, really looking forward to reading the Glamour Chronicles, as they've got good reviews and they sound good. So on to quick reads, starting with I Am a Dalek by Gareth Roberts. Yeah, this one sounds good. Might read it one day when I have some spare time. Then we do have Made of Steel. Pretty battered, this book, but I only got it for 88p, a bit of a random price, so you can't really complain. Then we do have Magic of the Angels, which was meant to come with a free Galaxy bar. However, I went up to the desk, asked, where's my Galaxy bar? And they said, it's no longer open. So yeah, that's the only disappointment about this book. Other than that, it's an excellent book in my opinion. Then we do have Death Riders by Justin Richards. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Read this at a very young age, and yeah, great book. Then we do have the Heroes and Monsters collection, featuring a load of quick reads. Yeah, read a few of these and they're good. Then we do have the Decide Your Destiny range, starting with the Spaceship Graveyard, Alien Arena, which I've read a couple of times. The good thing about Decide Your Destinies is you can read them for a numerous amount of times, and there's a completely new story. The Time Crocodile by Colin Blake. The Crystal Snare, which I also have read a couple of stories of. The Haunted Wagon Train. And Second Skin. So that's my David Tennant Decide Your Destinies out of the way. Moving on to my only Matt Smith Decide Your Destiny, we do have Claws of the Macra, a personal childhood favourite of mine. Yeah, a brilliant book in my opinion. Read this about 20 times when I was younger, and yeah, never got bored of it. So, moving on to my Doctor Who spin-off novels. On to Doctor Who spin-off novels, starting with the Torchwood novels, then on to the Sarah Jane Adventures novels. We do have Another Life. Yeah, this one sounds amazing. In fact, all of these Torchwood books sound so cool, so violent, and so brilliant. Then we do have Border Princess, Into Silence, Bay of the Dead. This one looks amazing. Then we do have Sky Point by Phil Ford, and Risk Assessment, which also looks very good. I'm really looking forward to reading these Torchwood books. So on to the Sarah Jane Adventures novelizations, which I have read all of. So getting started with Invasion of the Bane, Revenge of the Slovene. I actually thought that said Revenge of the Sith just then, but no, Slovene. Eye of the Gorgon. Brilliant Sarah Jane Adventures story, this one. Absolutely brilliant. As well as Warriors of Kudlak, an excellent story, a childhood favourite of mine. Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane. The Lost Boy. And The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. So moving on to my non-fiction books. So on to non-fictional books, starting with A History of the Universe and 100 Objects, a brilliant book in my opinion. The Character Encyclopedia Updated Edition. The Vault by Marcus Hurd, a brilliant book, goes through all 50 years of Doctor Who and tells you what merchandise came out in every year, pretty much. Then we do have The 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, a book all about Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor and how he became the Doctor. One of the first non-fictional Doctor Who books I got. Then we do have The Secret Lives of Monsters by Justin Richards, brilliant book in my opinion. The Dangerous Book of Monsters, the Doctor's official guide. Yeah, again, a superb book. Then we do have Who Graphica, yes, Who Graphica, one of my favourite items in my Doctor Who collection. A really good book, has loads of graphs about Doctor Who in. However, the only complaint about this book would be it's very unscratch. It's very unscratch resistant, yeah. It has loads of scratches on this book. Really bad, as I've only had it a month. And for example, the 50 Years Essential Guide had that 2 years now, and that hasn't got a single scratch on. So yeah, a low budget book, I think. Who Graphica has some pretty bad paper, I think, made with it. Anyway, moving on to the 50 Years Essential Guide, a really good book. The Official Doctrine, just a miscellaneous Doctor Who book, nothing special. Very kiddie, very dated, but yeah, it's a nice little book. Got this for 50p on the BBC shop, closing down sale. Then we do have Wit, Wisdom and Timey-Wimey Stuff, The Quotable Doctor Who by Karen Stott and Mark Wright, a brilliant book. Loads of Doctor Who quotes in here. Then we do have Whoology, a really good book, absolutely superb, has loads of lists, facts, and yeah, really good book about Doctor Who, I think. Then we do have The Official Quiz Book, a really good book. If you want to test your knowledge on Doctor Who, get this book, really do, it's really superb. Then we do have The Time Lord Letters. This is actually a fictional book, but I put in the non-fiction section, as it's too big to go in my fictional section. And yeah, Time Lord Letters, a brilliant book with loads of different letters of what the Doctor's written to ex-companions. And yeah, really good book. Then we do have 2 issues of The Complete History, issue 55 and issue 17. So, moving on, we do have a load of issues of DWM. I actually have more of this, but there's no room on my shelf. Then I do have the Doctor Who annuals from 2012 to 2017. Then I do have Impossible Worlds, a brilliant Doctor Who book with loads of fantastic Doctor Who artwork in. The Visual Dictionary, updated and expanded, a superb Doctor Who book. Then we have the first issue of DWM, a really good Doctor Who magazine. I also have a few other rare Doctor Who magazines in here. Then I have some Titan comics, some more Titan comics, the Doctor Who Experience Official Companion Guide, Where's the Doctor, and the Activity book. So yes, that's the end for my Doctor Who a book collection, which got into a bit of a mess near the end. But other than that, goodbye.